Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a wildcat. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the front part of the body. To draw the circle, make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. And then just connect the marks using curved lines to create the shape of the circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video to draw at your own pace. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having a hard time drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a coin or a bottle cap or anything else with a circular edge. To the right, draw another circle as a guide for the back portion of the body. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. First, make 4 small marks to indicate the length and width, and then connect the marks using curved lines to create the rest of the circle. Make both circles roughly the same size. Draw the circles close together. If you place the second circle too far away, then the body will be too long. On the top left side, draw another circle as a guide for the head. Pay attention to where you place the circle's 4 initial marks so that you get the position right. The edge of the head circle should touch the edge of the first circle. And this circle should be about 1/3 the size of the first one. Inside the head, draw a long curved horizontal line. This is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features later on. On top of the horizontal line, draw a shorter curved vertical line for another construction guide. Under the horizontal guide, draw a small circle as a guide for the muzzle. This small circle should fit between the horizontal line and the bottom edge of the head. On top of the head, on the outer sides, draw 2 small triangular shapes as guides for the ears. Under the first circle, near the left side, draw a long line as a guide for the front leg. The line should slope to the lower left side a bit. Bend the top and the bottom to indicate the joint and the foot. To the right, draw a shorter line as a guide for the other front leg. Bend the bottom part for the foot too. Under the second circle, near the right side, draw a long angled line as a guide for the first hind leg. Pay attention to how this line bends to the right near the middle before bending down again at the bottom. To the left, draw a line that slopes to the lower left side as a guide for the other hind leg. Draw 2 short lines that connect the head to the body to create the guide for the neck. And then draw 2 longer lines that connect the first 2 circles to finish the guide for the torso. To the right of the body, draw a long curved line as a guide for the tail. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch 2 small circles for the eyes. Place the circles on top of the horizontal guide and on either side of the vertical guide. Pay attention to the size of these circles in relation to the head. The circle on the left should be a tiny bit smaller because of the way the head is turned. When you get the size and position of the eyes right, darken the lines. Make the top part of the eyes a little bit more flat. And make the edges thick and dark. Add a couple of short angled lines on the inner sides of the circles for the corners of the eyes. Inside each eye, draw a thin vertical shape for the slit-like pupils. On the sides of each pupil, draw 2 tiny circles to represent highlights. Lightly shade the top parts of the eyes, but don't overlap the highlight circles. Push lightly on your pencil so that the shading is lighter than the pupils. Shading only the top part makes the eye look more three-dimensional. Add a couple of short strokes along the top parts of the eyes for a bit of fur. Inside the guide for the muzzle, near the top, lightly sketch a small triangle for the nose. The corners of the eyes should point toward the top corners of the nose. When you get the size and position of the nose right, darken the lines. Add a short curved line on the right side of the nose and shade it in for the nostril. Use a slightly wavy line as you darken the top part of the nose. Add extra short lines on the corners of the nose to make them more pointy. Under the nose, draw a line that splits into two for the mouth. Don't draw the mouth too far down below the nose. Use tiny short strokes as you sketch the sides of the mouth for fur. Add a few short strokes on the sides of the initial circle for the sides of the muzzle. Along the lower edge of the initial circle, draw a curved line that's made up of short strokes for the furry chin. Now use the triangular shape on the top right side of the head as a guide to draw the first ear. Draw the base of the ear farther inside the head, and use wavier lines as you darken the shape. At the top, draw a series of short strokes for the furry tip of the ear. Inside the ear, on the sides, draw a few more lines to give the ear more structure. Along the bottom, draw more short strokes for the furry base. Then add longer strokes across the entire shape for more fur. Now use the triangular shape on the left side as a guide to draw the other ear the same way. Darken the sides of the guide and make the base of the ear longer. At the top, use short strokes for the furry tip. And then add more strokes for the fur inside the ear and for the base of the ear. Now just use the bigger circle as a guide to draw the rest of the head. Draw a series of short strokes between the ears for the top part of the head. Stay close to the top edge of the circle, but make the head flatter. Draw a series of short strokes along the edge of the circle to create the shape of the furry head. Make the right side of the head a little bit wider than the initial circle, and leave a gap at the bottom where the head will connect to the body. Use the line on the far left side as a guide to draw the first front leg. Lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guide. The top part of the leg should be wide, and then it should gradually get more narrow toward the bottom. Draw a short curved line on the lower left side for the paw. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Use smooth lines at the bottom and short strokes at the top for fur. On the paw, draw a couple of short curved lines for the toes. And now use the line on the right as a guide to draw the other front leg the same way. Lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guide. Make sure that the top part is wide and the bottom narrow. And then darken the lines when you get the shape right. Draw a short curved line on the paw for the toes. And another curved line higher up for the inner toe. Use the angled line on the far right side as a guide to draw the hind leg. Just like before, first lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guide. This leg curves a bit more, so pay attention to the shape. Make the top part wide and the bottom narrow. When you get the shape right, darken the lines. Use short strokes along the top for fur and a short curved line at the bottom for the toes. Use the last line under the body as a guide to draw the other hind leg the same way. The top part of this leg will be hidden behind the body, so don't draw that part. And now use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Darken the outer edges of the initial guides to create the shape of the body. Use short strokes along the bottom edge for the fur. Darken the curved line on the right for the first part of the tail. Add a curved line at the bottom to make the shape thicker. And use short strokes for the furry tip. And now erase the initial guides for a cleaner drawing. This process is sped up so the video won't be too long. Don't worry about erasing all of the lines, it's okay to leave some behind. Redraw any of the final sketch lines that you may have accidentally erased. And now just shade your drawing. This process is also sped up so the video won't be too long. Use a series of short strokes to shade your wildcat. Draw the strokes so that they go in the direction of the fur. For the head, the strokes start in the middle near the nose and then radiate outward. Draw thick, long lines on the sides of the eyes for a bit of the fur pattern. Leave the area above and below the eyes blank. The muzzle should also be blank. And now shade the rest of the body using more strokes. The strokes along the body should have more of a horizontal orientation. Add a couple of darker strokes on the forehead for the fur pattern. Shade lightly at first and gradually build to darker values. To get darker values, push harder on your pencil. For lighter values, push lightly on your pencil. It's a good idea to use reference as you shade for a more accurate depiction of a wildcat. As you shade, separate the strokes a bit so that the white of the paper comes through and creates a more furry texture. Add darker strokes randomly throughout the body to create stripes and spots on the fur. Don't overthink the coat pattern, just add darker strokes all over the body for the stripes and spots. Add thicker stripes on the tail using a dark value. The stripes on the legs should be smaller and the paws should be blank. And then just continue adding more strokes on top of more strokes for the rest of the fur. Shading this way can be time consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Add a bit of a darker value to the legs that are on the other side of the body for shadows. And then add more dark value throughout the body for more shadows. These shadows will give the figure more dimension and volume. Pick your light source so that the shadows are consistent throughout your drawing. The light source here is coming from above, so the shadows will be mainly on the underside of the body and on the legs. And draw a shadow at the bottom using a medium value. This will ground the wildcat so that it doesn't appear to be floating. And then just keep shading until you're happy with the result. And that's it for the wildcat. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com, where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, and then drawanimals.com. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a comment. Also subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.